Heard you wondering about my swords. Well, one's for monsters. The other for humans.
So, you still haven't played The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. You might be looking forward to Cyberpunk 2077, the game that's also being made by CD Projekt Red. You might think it looks really detailed, it's got fun gameplay, it's cool that the decisions you make impact the world and stuff like that, but you're actually not as excited for it as you could be, because for some reason you still haven't played The Witcher 3. So, you might know that The Witcher 3 is praised by a lot of people. Apparently it's a fantastic open world game, it's got great characters, quests and story. It also goes on sale all the time, yet you still haven't picked it up yet. Maybe it just doesn't seem like your type of game. Maybe you think it looks good, you just haven't got around to playing it yet. I went into this game knowing little to nothing about the series, and it ended up becoming one of my favourite games of all time, and it could end up being yours too. So what is The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt about? What is the plot? Well, the story revolves around finding a character called Ciri. You go from place to place to find out where she is, because the Wild Hunt are pursuing her for her power, and that basically sums up the plot before getting too deep into it. Now, in this game, you play as Geralt of Rivia, who is a Witcher. Witchers are people who have successfully undergone a mutation and they're stripped of emotion. They have cat eyes, which enhances their vision. They're stronger and faster than humans. They can use magic known as signs. They can drink potions that will kill any normal human, and a few other things. A Witcher is basically a monster hunter. They take on contracts to kill monsters for money, and they're really not liked by the majority of humans because they see them as freaks. And throughout this game, there will be a lot of people who don't like you, but you'll learn to take no shit from them. So let's get into the world of The Witcher 3. What's it like and what's it got to offer? Well, this is an extremely detailed open world game that's split into different regions like Kaer Morhen, Novigrad, Velen, White Orchard and Skellige, all filled with a bunch of things to do. When you first get into the open world, there will be question marks everywhere. Each of those can be things like new areas that'll have side quests, bandit camps, guarded treasure, random encounters. There's also villages that have been taken over by monsters or bandits, and if you kill them, people can live there again. There's a lot of things you can do in this game. It has a lot of content, and you can spend hours just doing side content and then progress the story whenever you feel like it. For me, one of my favorite things to do in Witcher 3 is play Gwent. It's a card game that you get introduced to early on in the game. You start off with a basic deck, and you can buy cards from merchants and innkeepers, and you can win them off people you play. Once you know how to play it, you'll probably want to challenge anyone and everyone that you can, and collect cards for all the 4 card factions in the base game, which is Monsters, Northern Realms, Nilfgaardian Empire and Scoia'tael. Each has different leader cards with different abilities, and each deck has unique cards, so be sure to collect as many as you can. So now we'll get into the gameplay of The Witcher 3. There's a tutorial at the start that'll teach you the basics. Now there is a skill tree where you can equip Geralt with new abilities, like increasing his attack power for light and heavy attacks, increase your sign intensity for all your magic, and learn more advanced versions of them. There's also a lot of things that will help you during combat, such as oils, potions and bombs, which are all upgradable. You do have a crossbow, but that's mainly just used for knocking monsters out of the sky and underwater. You have a bestiary of enemies that'll tell you the weaknesses, which will update with new enemies as you kill them, so it's up to you to get the ingredients to craft and upgrade your items. There's 3 levels. It goes from the name of the item to enhanced to superior. When it comes to harder enemies, if you know their weakness, equip everything they're weak to. Apply oil to your sword, bombs, magic and also potions. You'll definitely want to be upgrading all of these things, especially on the higher difficulties. Now, as well as an extremely detailed open world, there's also great characters that you'll meet in it, like Yennefer, Ciri, Vesemir, Eskel, Lambert and a bunch more. The majority of the main characters in this game will also have quests tied to them, and some are part of the main story, so it'll let you get to know all of these characters. Now, this is the type of game where the choices you make determine the outcome. Do the right thing and you'll have no problem for the most part, but you can make some not so great decisions which occasionally won't end well for you and other characters, and that adds a ton of replayability to this game. There's a ton of different outcomes for quests as well as the ending. Once you beat it, you can play through it again and choose different options that'll have a completely different outcome. Maybe a character you like died, or you weren't happy with your ending. Maybe a character hates you because you chose one option instead of the other. You can play through it multiple times, make different decisions, and things will play out completely differently. And the same goes for both of the DLCs. They both have different outcomes and endings too. So whilst we're talking about DLC, let's get into them. Both Hearts of Stone and Blood and Wine are fantastic DLCs. The story and content in the base game is great, and if you enjoyed it in that, you'll be happy to hear that falls into both of the DLCs. Hearts of Stone focuses on a character called Olgierd von Everick. Geralt finds himself having to make this man's 3 wishes happen. Some are pretty ridiculous and also a lot of fun, but it is a very dark DLC in terms of its story. But of course, I won't get too deep into it because I obviously want you to experience it for yourself. This DLC opens up new areas of the map with new places to visit, people to meet, quests, enemies, weapons, armor, and a handful of other things. Blood and Wine adds an entirely new region to explore, which is Toussaint, and it is beautiful. Geralt goes to Toussaint because the Duchess has put up a contract asking for his help. People are being murdered, and it's up to him to find this killer and stop them. It also revolves around vampires, which made me really happy because I'm a bit of a vampire weeb. This expansion has so much to offer, from story content to an entire new region to explore that's full of as much content as the regions in the base game. They're brilliant expansions, definitely worth experiencing. Now, something worth mentioning is that you cannot go back and play any of the missions you've done. If you progress the story and missed a certain quest line, it'll come up as failed. So my advice is to play this game at a good pace. Progress the story a little, do whatever side quests are available, and repeat. That way you'll more than likely not miss any important side quests, some of which are tied to characters. Now, I've been praising this game for the entire video, but is this a perfect game? Does it have flaws? Well, when it comes to games, people may like certain things, others might not. It all comes down to your own opinion. For me personally, I don't really have much to complain about. There's nothing I dislike or ruined the game for me. I mean, I think the story, world, and characters are fantastic, but I would like the option to untrack a quest so that one isn't always on screen. Also, like a handful of games out there, it has bugs and glitches. Characters can act up, the game can occasionally crash, and sometimes stuff like this can happen. But they're very minor things in my opinion, and the positive things in this game definitely outweigh the minor issues. Well, I think I've said all I needed to say. I know a lot of people still haven't played The Witcher 3, and the point of this video was to let people know what they're missing out on and why they should pick it up. It's a fantastic game in my opinion. Once you experience the amount of work and detail that went into this game, it'll get you that much more excited for Cyberpunk because you'll know what quality to expect from CD Projekt Red. If you have any questions about the game or just anything in general, you know where the comment section is. And as always, thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch this video. I really do appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next one.